It's the Joelle Show.
Okay, so how much would cancellation cost? Question of the hour. So economists have this old adage that says there's no such thing as a free lunch. What the hell does that mean? Well, the idea is basically that if someone were to hand you a free sandwich for some reason, at some point, someone paid for the crusty bread that was in that sandwich. So there's a cost to everything. So even though these words like debt cancellation or debt forgiveness make it sound like the government could just press backspace on a couple of zeros and commas, unfortunately, it's not that easy. So here's a breakdown of how much it would cost to pay off that debt at these different levels. If we cut $10,000 of debt for all student borrowers, that would wipe out 25% of all federally held student debt and would cost $371 billion. If we cut $50,000 for all borrowers, that would wipe out 70% of debt, and it would cost $1.1 trillion. Trillion dollars. That's a lot of dollars. So how would we pay for that? Well, the answer is taxes. Yeah, it's taxes. But people like Bernie Sanders have recommended that we use a progressive tax, and progressive taxes are ones that focus more on wealthier earners like millionaires or billionaires or large corporations to fund student debt cancellation. So even though the cost would be really high, a lot of economists have argued that cutting debt at this large scale would actually spur the economy. It would help people be more financially stable and able to weather something, a crazy event like, like a deadly pandemic, but also let people invest in their lives by doing things like buying homes or maybe even starting a business. These are all things that spur the economy and create economic growth. And we love economic growth. And there's also a lot of research that says that cutting debt at this large scale would also greatly impact economic inequality and the racial wealth gap. So these are all really important topics. A lot of people are very excited about this. But what happens if nothing happens and you still have your debt at the end of the day? Well, I have prepared some tips for this scenario while we just wait for someone to bake the damn cookie. Okay, so what to do to manage your debt if we don't get debt canceled? Again, I am not a professional financial advisor. This is all publicly available information that I am regurgitating for your viewing pleasure, but I hope that this stuff helps for you to help figure out how to manage your debt right now. So the first thing you can do is get in contact with your loan servicing company to see if they have any aid available for borrowers, or if you need to defer or forbear your loan. Defer or forbearance means that you basically put pause on all of your payments for a year up to 3 years, and during that period, you still have interest stacking up, so there are strings attached. But if you're worried that you won't be able to make a payment this month or many months because something in your financial situation has changed, it's a really good idea to get in contact with your loan servicing company early so that you can try to save your credit if you just know that you're not going to be able to make that payment, because it can really badly impact your credit if you don't. And if you don't know who your loan servicer is, get in contact with the Federal Student Aid Information Center, our friends FSAIC, at this number. Okay, so the second thing you can do is consider a different type of repayment plan, one that probably lowers your monthly payments and might extend the amount of time that you end up paying back your loan over. So one example of a different type of repayment plan is an income-based repayment plan. So this type of plan will take a percentage of your monthly paycheck and use that as your monthly loan payment. And if this works for you, then it can actually be a lower payment amount, even though it'll probably spread out that payment over a longer period of time. With this, you might end up paying more interest, but if your financial situation is such that you need a lower payment, this might help you survive in the short term. This is just kind of depends on your eligibility, so you'll want to do research to make sure that this is going to be good for your financial situation, not put you in a worse situation, and then get in contact with your loan servicer to see if this is something that makes sense for you. The third thing that you can do is something called student loan consolidation. I know this sounds a little scary, but the idea is that you take out a new loan, bear with me, to pay off your old loan or loans so that your debt is consolidated with one lender. So it's easier to manage and keep track of, and with this new loan, you can try to get a lower monthly payment, and again, extend the payment period, so you'll be paying a smaller amount each month for more months. Again, the downside with this is that you might end up having to pay more interest, but if you need it with your situation, if it's the way that you need to survive, then you gotta do what you gotta do. Same thing applies here. You need to do your research on if this is gonna be right for you, if you are eligible for it, and if it's actually gonna improve your financial situation rather than make it worse. But I'm posting some links in the description of this video to help guide you to some helpful information and articles. Okay, the very last option is that you can actually get your loans forgiven by working for a nonprofit or a government organization for 10 whole years. So research shows that very few people actually end up working for a government organization or nonprofit for 10 whole years. But it's a very viable option. So if this is something that you think you can do, have that conversation with yourself, and then make the commitment, because it is a good and viable way to get rid of your debt. Okay, that's it. So as always, I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned some things. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, follow, share, all those good things. And also, this is a huge topic. There's so much to talk about with student debt. So if you have any other questions or any thoughts that you want to share too, leave a comment below. And then in the meantime, keep an eye out for my next video. Thanks for watching.